Okay, welcome back to Pompey Scrapbook. We're here for another episode. How's your week been, Tony?
It's been good, yeah. We had another enjoyable day at the football on Saturday.
Yes, I think we were both there for Saturday's instalment. That was Shrewsbury, wasn't it?
Yeah, a good win. Not particularly great game, but they did well to win, which is the main thing now.
Yes. So, yes, welcome back. And before we get started, please do pop down in YouTube, click like, click subscribe so that you get an alert when we post another video. So today's episode is the Pompey Mural episode. So Pompey, if you haven't seen it, have produced a brilliant new mural which is on the side of what is basically the Pompey shop, the Pompey mega store, whatever it's called, and looks rather good, doesn't it, Tone?
It is, yeah. We both went across and had a look before the game on Saturday, and I was quite impressed. It looks good.
So this was a something the club initiated, and they produced a list of players, didn't they? And people voted, and the top 6 players were painted into the mural.
Yeah, there was a short list of 20, and the 6 that are there, I mean, you can't argue with any of them, can you?
No, let's have a look. So we've got, it starts there with Linvoy Primus, Paul Merson, Kanu, Guy Whittingham, player we've got familiar with recently. There's Peter Crouch and Alan Knight.
Are you sure that's Peter Crouch?
I
think you better explain.
I was there having a look with a younger member of my family, and I took the video, walked up and down, took a while to get a shot without people in the way, and he said to me, "Yeah, looks good. God, they've done Peter Crouch dirty." Sorry? He said they haven't done Peter Crouch any favours. And I said, well, hang on a minute, come back. Let's have a look. Who's Peter? That one's Peter Crouch. Okay, so I had to explain who Robert Prosinecki was to him.
It's an interesting thing, though, because, I mean, Prosinecki's a great name from football, and the fact that, we didn't recognise him.
He is quite young, so.
Well, that's true.
The member of my family, not Robert Prosinecki. He's not young in anyone's book.
He's younger compared to me.
Okay, so we're going to have a look through each of the 6 players, and we've got some Pompey cards for them all. I'm expecting from some of the people I've been talking to about these videos, I might get some challenge on these scores, but
let's hope so.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. So first of all, we're going to look at Linvoy Primus. So there's Linvoy celebrating a goal, by the looks of things. Linvoy, he's got a Pompey power rating of 87. So to put it into context, that's above the likes of Biley and Walsh that we've seen previously. I think the highest we've seen in previous videos was a 94 for Guy Whittingham. So what do you think, Tony?
We've had a little bit of discussion on this, and it's strictly as a player, you wouldn't put Linvoy in the same category as somebody like Walsh. But what he did with Pompey, he was superb for us. I mean, he raised his game so much that he competed in the Premier League, which you would never, ever have thought he would have done.
Yeah, so apparently when Redknapp came in, he told Linvoy he didn't think he was good enough to be playing in the second tier, first division, championship, whatever you want to call it. But of course, went on to not only prove his worth at that level, but in the Premier League as well.
Yep, definitely. He was. Pompey was a great club for him because he just found a spiritual home with us in more ways than one, I guess. And to go from his debut, he actually scored an own goal on his debut. And to go from that to being alongside Sol Campbell as part of a defensive partnership in the Premier League was quite something.
And the word you used there, spiritual. I mean, apparently there was a like a prayer group in amongst the players that was obviously led by Linvoy. He was a very spiritual man, and I think what sets him apart from all the other players we'll talk about on the mural is the amount he did in the community was way above what anyone else had done, which led to him being awarded an MBE. Okay, so a couple of clips then for Linvoy. So this is Boxing Day away to West Ham. Corner comes in from Pedro.
And there he is, classic centre-half's goal coming in at the far post. And we've seen that celebration before.
Yeah, and that carries on to this bit where Linvoy then
Odds it back, and that was Sol Campbell putting it over, wasn't it? His centre-back partner.
Yeah, nearly scored another one. And still in the first half, a free kick this time.
And it's Pedro again. Oh, how simple is that?
Such an easy game, isn't it?
It is when you look at it like that. Just knock the ball in there, head it in the net.
West Ham don't seem to have learnt very much from that, do they?
No.
Okay. So that was Linvoy. The legend was Linvoy. I've picked two clips of goals. There was a particular tackle you were hoping we could find a clip from, Tony. What was that?
Yeah, there was a game against Man United from 2007. Wayne Rooney was racing through on goal, and Linvoy appears from nowhere to take the ball off his foot. But couldn't find it anywhere. Most disappointing.
Yeah. So, great defender. We happened to show a couple of clips of goals. Okay.
Great.
So, moving on from Linvoy, next on the wall, we are going to have a chat about this guy who was a one-season wonder for Pompey. What do we think of Merce, Tony?
One season wonder, as you said, but what a season. I mean, I remember when we signed him and you thought, wow, Paul Merson. He took us from a side that was starting to look like it might possibly challenge in the top half playoff sort of place to suddenly running away with the championship. His impact was that much on the team. He basically turned us into a championship winning outfit.
And he was a masterstroke by Harry Redknapp, really, wasn't he?
He was indeed, yeah.
So we'd assembled a lot of signings that season, which I'm sure we'll talk about another time. So Pompey pulled a lot of players together, but Merson was the key to making it work. I saw an interesting interview, which is another YouTube video, where Jeff Stelling's interviewing Paul Merson, and he says, "How did you end up at Pompey?" And he says, "Well, day after I got released from Villa, I get a phone call from Harry Redknapp. I've not met Harry before, and Harry's like, I want you to come and give me a couple of seasons." And Paul Merson's like, "Right, where are you?" "Oh, I'm managing Portsmouth." "Oh, and what are they like?" "Well, they're shit at the moment," Harry says to him. And I don't know, Harry. It's a lot of travelling, but Redknapp says, "Right, no, it's okay. You won't train this day, you won't train that day. You just train this day. Give me what you got on a Saturday. Right, I'll be there tomorrow."
And that there is the master of Harry and his man management, isn't it? He wanted Merce, and he worked out a way of getting him there. And
yeah,
to be fair, Merce, he didn't need to train every day, did he? His ability was undoubted. As long as he kept himself fit and ticking over, and was there on a Saturday, that's what was needed.
And like I say, didn't need to train every day. I think probably the biggest factor in managing Paul Merson was probably keeping him happy, wasn't it? He had a lot.
Yeah.
He had a lot of demons, Paul,
Yeah.
which he talks about in that interview. So yeah, keeping him happy, keeping him out of the bookies was the success. So, and I think that's why he's been voted onto the Mural. Amazing season, but I think people probably take to him because of those vulnerabilities. People have known he's had a lot of issues. So
Yeah, maybe because he comes across perhaps as, even though he's this superstar footballer, he comes across as just a normal person who's got problems, and that's what people can identify with. And then you just happen to be captain of the team and lead it to the championship. What more can you want as a fan?
yeah, so let's have we've got a little compilation here of Merson clips from that season. So he just operated at another level, didn't he? His intelligence compared to anything else that was in that league probably was just another level.
And as we see here, he didn't take a bad penalty either.
No. One of the other things that popped up in that Jeff Stelling interview is he asked Paul a whole range of questions, and one of them was, "What's the best game of football you ever played?" And Paul Merson said, "Away to Millwall playing for Pompey." What do we remember of that game?
We won 5-0. Pompey fans were banned, so only a very few select ones managed to get in there. But the Millwall fans, not known for their way they treat visiting players, actually gave him a standing ovation when he was taken off. And that is quite something when you think about it.
Yeah, Merson talks in that interview, says after that day.
That's the Millwall game there.
Yeah, that's him taking the penalty. He says some 70-year-old guy approached me in the car park. I was getting in my car. I was like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And the guy said, "I've been supporting Millwall since I was a kid. That's the first time I've ever seen Millwall fans give an opposing player a standing ovation."
Yeah, and I doubt it's happened very often since.
No. And just
that's the Rotherham game, when the championship game.
Yeah. So like I say, a one-season wonder. Not loads of games for Pompey, like I say, so 48 games. But what an impact. Pompey went on to play how many seasons in the Premier League?
7.
So, and who knows when would we have got there? Would we have got there without that season from Paul Merson?
Oh. But it would have been interesting to see how he got on in the Premier League. But I think he, by his own admission, probably didn't think he was up to Premier League football at that stage.
And that's why he stopped playing, wasn't it?
No, it would have been nice to have seen it, wouldn't it? But
he said, "I knew that next season Harry would have wanted more from me in the Premier League, and he just didn't think he had it to give."
Yeah, which is very honest. And he went on, left us for Walsall, who were a championship side at the time.
He was player manager, wasn't he?
Eventually he was player manager. He went just as a player at first.
Yeah.
He actually stayed at Walsall longer than he was at Pompey. He was there for 3 seasons, maybe.
Yeah. So moving on from the one-season wonder to another one-season wonder.
Oh, hang on a minute. Let's just.
Yes. What a fine shirt.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, thought we'd dig this one out in honour of this man.
A Pompey blue Croatia shirt.
Yep.
Okay, so Robert Prosinecki. How on earth did Pompey get Robert Prosinecki to come and play for them?
Even now, 22 years later, I still shake my head and think, how was he playing for us? Because our team was pretty average. The season before, we'd avoided relegation on the last day of the season. And all of a sudden, we're signing this giant of world football, which he was. He played for Real Madrid, Barcelona. And then suddenly he's playing for Pompey. And you think, what the hell is he doing here?
And so was he in the team? What Croatia win with him?
They got to the semi-final of the World Cup. Lost to France in '98. And in Euro '96, they got to the quarter-final, I think.
Yeah.
In Croatia, a great side around that, and he was part of it. and you just literally could not believe that he was playing for Pompey.
So I've scored him and Merson 90 each. They haven't played a lot of games for Pompey. I mean, we're gonna see someone in this list who's played 800 games for Pompey. So, but it's just the impact, and they've almost gone down in folklore, haven't they? And that's like talking to younger fans now and saying, oh, if only you'd seen Robert Prosinecki and what he did to teams like Grimsby and Barnsley.
Yeah, I think you had to be there to see it. It was something to see, and I'm sure we've got some clips coming up where we do see some of it. But
Yeah.
if you didn't see it, you might wonder what all the fuss was about. But
Yeah.
when you were there, you knew.
So let's have a little montage of clips from Mr. Prosinecki.
This should be good. The great thing was he didn't do any running, but he didn't have to. He had other players in the team who could do the running for him.
It's even then when he runs up to the hoardings to jump over. And I'm not sure he's going to make it.
I think the thing was, they give it to one of the younger players. They say, just give the ball to Prosinecki and let him do it.
This
bit, count the number of turns.
I can beat you. I can beat you again, but five times. I think I'll beat you 5 times. It's this clip.
This is a goal against Wolves.
He makes those cuts, and fantastic.
And that, you notice there, he stuck that in with his left foot. This is with his right foot, so totally two-footed.
Bet he didn't score many headers though.
Jamie Vincent they're putting that in. This is the Barnsley game. Yeah, this was the hat-trick goal.
Got a little fact for you on that game, Tony.
Pardon?
I've got a little fact for you on that game.
Yeah.
The Barnsley game. Only hat-trick of his career.
Yes, it was. Yeah, and he also refused to take the match ball. He was so disappointed that we didn't win because it actually finished a 4-4 draw.
I just love it when he makes those cuts, like the fake shot cuts, and you just see like players from that level all like jumping around and they haven't got a clue what he's going to do.
This is Barnsley again. Here we go. Look at that.
What a player.
Oh. It was surreal, to be honest, at the time.
Yeah.
The biggest shame of it was, I mean, he was so good that season. I think we finished about 17th, 18th in the league.
I think I heard a story. It must be Kev the Kit Man. I'm sure I heard a story that one of the duties that he had to take on that season when Prosinecki was there was had to go off in advance of the halftime break and light his cigarette ready for him.
Yes, I've heard that as well, yeah. Had to be ready for him when he came in the dressing room.
Okay, we're going to meet a player now from the Mural that we've talked about quite a lot before. So, Mr. Whittingham, and if you remember, we scored Wits a 94.
Yep.
So, I think Whittingham's impact for his Pompey power is probably a multi-level thing. So, he scored 47 goals in a season, which we've discussed before and said that's flipping amazing. We signed him for free from Yeovil. Got 1.8 million for him from Aston Villa, which back then was a lot of money. So he's having a lot of impact. And then, of course, came back and did a stint as a manager when things weren't so good at the club. And now we listen to him every Saturday if we're watching on iFile or listening to the radio. So he's been very involved with Pompey in a lot of ways.
He has basically been involved with the club for 35 years almost. All right, he had a little spell away when he was playing in the Premier League, but even then he came back on loan and played for a while. He's certainly been someone who's been around for a long, long time in different capacities.
And 115 goals there on that card. So,
There's, I think we've said before, there's not many that have got more than that.
no.
Pompey.
So we're not gonna go for too many clips from Guy. I'm just gonna just a couple of goals that we'll pick up on. So this is one we haven't seen before. This goal, and
And
this
that's against Luton at Fratton, isn't it? That's just amazing though to see that where all the defenders are chasing him back.
yeah, because we're so used to seeing tap-ins from him, and that really was a wonder goal for Whittingham. And
Yeah.
this one, of course, we'll remember.
That's the overhead kick against Chelsea.
Yes. Yeah, so that's Guy. Um,
Yeah. As you said, we spoke about Guy a couple of weeks ago. Thoroughly deserving of a place on the wall.
yeah, and the rating, like I said, we gave him a 94. Let's open up some debate. If you think he's not worth that, or if our friend Ian thinks that Paul Walsh is worth a lot more than his card, let's maybe
As I
not.
think we've not saying it's the best player necessarily. It's your impact on Pompey as a club, and that can
Yeah,
come in various ways.
yeah, absolutely. So another player who um, made the wall. So let's meet the king.
The King Kanu.
Apparently born in 1926. Oh, sorry, 76. It says.
Did anybody actually know how old he is?
It was always a bit of a joke, wasn't it? Because
Yeah.
when he was playing for us, I mean, how old would he have been? 30, early
Well,
30s. But there was always people. A lot of people didn't thought there was some mystery around his age, didn't they?
he came to us in 2006, so that means he was only.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He'd been playing for Arsenal for 25 years.
it seemed like it. Yeah,
um,
but I mean, joking apart, he was a superb player. He was one of those players that once he got hold of the ball, defenders could do whatever they want, and they just could not get it off him. They could kick him, push him, pull him, whatever. He would not let go of that ball.
yeah. Yeah. Very tall, so 6'6", but had
Yep,
really good feet.
yeah,
He little side steps, moved the ball from one foot to the other, was so quick, but looked sometimes a little bit clumsy because he was so tall, but
yep,
fantastic touch.
yeah.
He played more for Pompey than I realised. 167
Yes,
games.
because I mean, he came in 2006. Following the first two seasons were up to seven. Then 2008, when of course we won the cup. He then stayed on for another over 3 more years after that,
Hmm.
which he stayed on into the Championship or League One or Division One, whatever it was called then.
Yeah, so he came on a free, didn't he?
I
And
think there was a thought about him taking up a coaching role at some stage, but it never sort of materialised. So
I think then his spell at Pompey ran into the time when we had no money, and we were just trying to we were trying to convince players to cancel their contracts. So I think when Kanu actually finished, there was a little bit of wrangling, wasn't there? He thought he was owed some money, and I think then said
but I
let
mean,
come off and whatever.
but let's be honest. If you're given a deal, then it's not your fault that the club can't then pay it.
Yeah, yep.
Uh, and in the end, I think he did drop the case and waived £2-3 million, whatever it was.
So we're going to just have two goals from
Just
Kanu,
two,
just two. Yeah. Well, we'll start with this one.
not both at Wembley by any chance, are they?
So
That's the West Brom semi-final.
yeah, that's the semi. 1-0. Kanu did the job, and then on to the final.
This is that's Utaka on the right. With an ordinary cross, but the keeper spills it, doesn't he? And he's there.
And I've spent many an hour trying to work out what this celebration was about.
Yeah, I don't think he knows.
Yeah.
But he was, a great player. I mean, it's you can say he won us the cup. Okay, fair enough. He scored the goal in the semi-final and the final. You can't argue with that. He was part of a very, very good team, and he played his role perfectly up the top.
Yeah, absolutely. Great player and won us the cup. So what more can you say?
You really you can't say much more, can you?
No. So to round off the mural, this is a rating. I'm sure will create some debate. This is the legend. That is Alan Knight. So he's got a Pompey power of 92. So he's got more Pompey power than Robert Prosinecki and Paul Merson.
Not as much as Guy Whittingham.
Not as much as Guy Whittingham. So Alan Knight is just a fantastic servant for the football club. 801 appearances. And that's just a mind-boggling number, isn't
it? I very much doubt you'll see anybody ever come up with those sort of figures again for one club. It just doesn't happen now, does it?
No.
I mean, you're talking about he made his debut in 1978, last game of the season, and his last game in 2001. So he spanned 23 years. That's quite something. And most of that time, he was just the automatic first choice. There were a few odd periods when he wasn't, but not very much.
Yeah. And like I say, a great servant for the club. He's worked in a coaching capacity on more than one occasion, hasn't he, for the club? I think, does he still work as an ambassador for the club? I think
he does, yeah, he's still there. And quite rightly so. I mean, players like that should just be left and said, yeah, this is you're still part of the club. In the story, there shouldn't be any debate about it.
Yeah.
And a good friend of the Isle of Wight as well. He's been over several times over here.
Yeah. Okay, so the clip I'm going to show is a save that we've seen before. So that you'll probably know which one this is then, Tony.
I think I do, yeah.
Oxford United at set plays.
So Oxford that we watched recently.
I think both of us at the time when we were doing this and we saw that, we didn't realise what a good save it was.
Yeah, this replay shows how good it is. So
and you look at it behind the goal, yeah. That is nestling in the corner. Oof, fingertips.
So yeah, an awesome save.
Yeah.
I haven't rated him higher than that because he wasn't perfect as a keeper, was he?
He wasn't, no, but goalkeeper's a tricky position in it because you make a mistake there, it invariably ends up in a goal.
Yeah, and I think he was a great shot stopper. Great shot stopper. His distribution maybe wasn't the best, and he did. We'll remember some of them. He did make some mistakes. We've watched them even in that game, the goal they score in that Oxford game, and we watched it. You know, but I think goalkeepers have got better. I think it's we've watched videos and Alan Knight's let a goal in, and I think in this day and age, if Norris had let it in, he'd get crucified by fans on social.
Yeah, that's the different world now, isn't it?
Yeah, and as we said, we had David James playing goal as well, and I think on looking at him physically as a player, probably a better keeper than Alan Knight. But
David James a better goalkeeper than everybody, basically, wasn't he? But Knighty was a top class keeper for us at the level we were playing. He played that one season in Division 1. Did okay. Obviously got injured that season as well. Over a period of 20 plus years, yeah, he made some mistakes, but he didn't let us down much.
Yeah, I think he became Pompey's keeper in like the probably the second season I was watching Pompey. So
Yeah.
basically, he was just the keeper for all of the time I supported Pompey until like Shaka Hislop was probably the next keeper. Played a lot of games.
Probably was. Yeah.
Mm.
Of course, we had Aaron Flahaven for a short while, and then then Shaka.
Yeah. So that's the Mural. A good selection of players, I'd say.
I think it is. I mean, it wasn't.
So I don't
It wouldn't have
think
been the
there's no
selected, but
disputing.
you can't.
Go on, Sam.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been the 6 that I selected, but you can't argue with any of them.
No.
They're all top names for the club.
We're not disputing anyone's place on the wall, but if I found another 30 foot of wall so we could put a couple more players on to add to them, who do you think would be in the mix, Tony?
Well, it very much depends. If you're talking strictly about the ability of the player, then the likes of Salim Antari and Lassana Diarra, Sol Campbell would have to be in there. But were they Pompey players? That's the thing. They were brilliant players, but they weren't of the same calibre of player that we've discussed now with Knighty and Guy Whittingham and that sort of like.
Mm.
On that, I would add in someone like David James, Matt Taylor, who we actually had for 5-6 years and was superb and got the club completely. I would also go down to someone like Michael Doyle, came in when we were at our lowest point and dragged us out of League Two as captain.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot more to it than just how good a player you are.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's like you say, it's that whole Pompey impact thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
What they did for us. Some great names there. So that's the Mural, and that's our selection of legends then, Tony, for this video.
Yes, indeed, and it's been good. And I must say, yeah, I'm very impressed with the Mural.
Yeah, looks really good, doesn't it? And let's hope it stays that way and doesn't get any additional artwork sprayed on it by the local fans.
Let's hope not. Surely not.
Okay, thanks, Tony. Brilliant video again.
Okay, then. Good stuff.
We'll see you next week.
Cheers, and guys.
Cheers.